So from the other videos on this playlist, you have learned that the lithosphere is divided up into separate tectonic plates, and the convection in the asthenosphere moves these plates around the surface of the Earth, although at a very slow rate. In this video, we will learn about what happens along the boundaries of these plates as they move around. This map shows the tectonic plates and the direction they are moving in. The dark lines on the map represent a location where two tectonic plates are meeting. These are called plate boundaries. Some of the plates are pushing towards one another, and some of the plates are moving away from one another. Still other plates are sliding along past one another. Watch on to learn about the names and properties of these different types of plate boundaries. Divergent boundaries are locations where two oceanic tectonic plates are moving apart. As the boundaries pull apart, liquid rock called magma rises upwards to fill the space. As the magma rises up, it cools down and forms new crust. This is why oceanic crust is newer than continental, and is also how Earth's new crust is formed. This picture shows a diver swimming along a divergent boundary. Along a divergent boundary are chains of volcanoes. As lava spews upwards from the gap and rapidly cools into rock, it forms rock walls on each side of the boundary. This deep, narrow area along a divergent boundary is called a mid-ocean ridge. The second type of plate boundary is called a convergent boundary. Convergent boundaries are locations where two tectonic plates are pushing towards one another. While there is only one type of divergent boundary, there are three types of convergent boundaries. The boundary you see here is between converging oceanic and continental plates, and is called an oceanic-continental convergent boundary. Look at this picture. At this location, the oceanic crust slides under the continental plate and moves back into the mantle where it melts into a semi-liquid rock. When one plate slides underneath another plate and melts back into the mantle, it creates a trench. Trenches are like very deep canyons. The area this happens is called the subduction zone. When a subduction zone forms at an oceanic-continental boundary, it creates volcanic activity on land. Areas on land where volcanoes are located are often along converging oceanic and continental plates. The second type of convergent plate boundary is when two oceanic plates are converging. This is called an oceanic-oceanic convergent boundary. Once again, a subduction zone forms underwater and creates a trench. Since there are two oceanic plates here, this creates chains of underwater volcanoes. Areas with many islands and archipelagos often form along oceanic-oceanic convergent boundaries. The third type of convergent boundary, a continental-continental convergent boundary, occurs when two continental plates are pushing against one another. At some locations, this forms a subduction zone, but at others, the continental plates push each other upwards, creating a folded mountain. In the bottom right of the screen, you can see an image of a folded mountain. Areas such as the Himalaya Mountains are folded mountains that formed along continental-continental convergent boundaries. The third type of plate boundary is a transform boundary. Transform boundaries are locations where tectonic plates are sliding past one another horizontally. The plates strain and try to push past one another. The plates push harder and harder, and pressure builds up until finally the plates shift past all at once. This releases a huge amount of energy that sends seismic waves through the Earth. This event is called an earthquake. Earthquakes literally shake the ground up and down, which can destroy buildings and roads. Earthquakes change the level of rock and cause visible breaks in the size and elevation of the ground. These giant gaps or cracks in the ground caused by earthquakes are called faults. A small fault can be seen on the screen here. Now that you know about plate boundaries, watch the continental drift video to learn what happens as plates move over billions of years.